right. Sorry, I had to show off my new standing desk really quick. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we have episode number 2 from our live Lane Clients Accelerator calls. So what I decided to do was make this series for the students that are in our exclusive Lane Clients community, but also I want to share this series with you guys. So last week we're talking about right now the discovery call, and last week we were talking about building rapport with people to help you close more deals, right? And then today we're still in that discovery call type process, but we're talking more so at the end. We're talking about how to build relationships. We talk about the 3 ways to actually do it, tactical ways to build strategic relationships to overall help you grow your business, right? We're going to talk about how do we lead from the discovery call, which if you don't know what I'm talking about, discovery call, in this series, we're teaching our whole LinkedIn, full sales process for our agency. Every single week we're doing a new video. And right now what we're teaching is the discovery call. So we were teaching about how to build rapport because the discovery call is the first time you talk with a prospect. How do we go from connecting with them, like say on social media or other platforms, get them on a first discovery call, and then from that discovery call land another meeting where we're actually closing them. So during the discovery call last week, what we talked about was building that initial rapport, finding that commonality, right? We talked about how questions are the vehicle to find a commonality. It's just a tool. Questions that you ask somebody on that discovery call is only a tool to find where you guys can connect and relate, so then you can find that commonality, which lowers their walls so they're able to trust you, which then is going to help you close more deals. Today what we're talking about is relationships. How do we build actual relationships with people to where we're gonna reap the benefits and the fruits for a long period of time. So we give some tactical things to do that. We talk about frequency, feeling, and action. We have Cody, who's one of my mentors and also my business partner, come in. He's given some advice on relationships, one of the best that I know. This man is just absolutely incredible. So you guys will love to see him inside of this week's training as well. But yeah, we have a lot of really good stuff. We're going to teach about how do we set up and move, set up the next call, which is our strategy call to close. How do we migrate into that? Talking about a lot of really cool stuff. So anyways, I just rambled, but if you guys are new to my channel, my name is Elliot Drake. I'm a 20-year-old serial entrepreneur. I run a marketing agency as well as a software company and an education business. And so this channel is all about how to help you succeed online. Okay, so without further ado, everybody, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, hit that thumbs up button, turn on post notifications. Really want to grow this. Comment down below, tell me about who you are, where you're at. I want to help you. So without further ado, let's jump right into our live call. All right, so what we've been going over is just like our full sales process from LinkedIn. We're breaking it out into parts. So, this is kind of the steps we're going down. And so previously, and you guys have already known, we've talked a lot about these hunting stages and these advancing. You guys know about Kennected, how we, get people off of LinkedIn. You guys have all the messaging, and then the goal is to get them onto a discovery call. And then on that discovery call, the idea and the main objective is to get them on a closing strategy session, right?
Yeah.
And so in the last call, what we talked about is really nurturing. We're still going to be talking about nurturing today. But the last call, we talked about building rapport, and I'm just going to go over it. And we talked about this, changing the way you approach a discovery call. And these are the things that we said to keep in mind was to go in curious, meaning don't go into the call being emotionally attached and expecting the sale. So the second point, don't expect the sale on the first touch, only approach a close if it feels right. And basically we've all talked about this, everyone in here is not allowing yourself to be emotionally attached, because then it's not going to allow you to actually connect and build that relationship with the person. And so that's what we talked about last week.
And one of the big topics was using questions to find commonality, right? Like questions are just a vehicle. Questions are only a tool to find commonality with someone, which is what builds rapport. The questions aren't what build rapport. You only leverage and use questions to find more information out about that individual that allows you to find your place where you can connect, whether it's, you guys like the same football team, so you guys are able to bond and find that little commonality, right? So questions are only a vehicle that allow you to get the information out you need to find somewhere you can connect with someone, right? Building rapport is just finding somewhere in the other person's life where you can relate. And there's some examples where, same sports team, like I said, then that person, you can build an actual relationship, because when you find a commonality, especially in the discovery call, where like you guys are new to each other, it's like there's like kind of some weird tension. And so finding those connection points outside of, work and business allow them to lower their guard, which then is going to help you end up closing them, because the whole thing is trust, right? Know, like, and trust. And the main objective is get them to trust us. So we want to be able to use those questions to help build that rapport that's going to help us in the long run, right? I'll just go over this again. So how is rapport built? Rapport is built with the feeling of commonality. People like people who are like themselves, or who are like how they would like to be, right? So we gave this action item last week is think of someone you like a lot, right? Then raise your hand if this person is either like you or like how you would like to be. Now, so like think about that, right? So think of someone who you really like, and then, is that person either like you or like someone you'd like to be? Normally that's the case, right? But now think about something you don't like. Raise your hand if they are not like you or not like how you would want to be. Right? So that kind of brings everything with rapport, and why we are saying like finding those different connection points with an individual, because that's how, they feel like they're somewhat like you. Same sports team, like you guys vibe, you're dope, right? Like whenever I start out a discovery call, like that's where the chit chat process, that is the main goal. Like that's why we said that little buffer, like, how's your day going? Like asking where their city is. And if they say like Cleveland, I would be like, oh, how you feel about the Browns coming up? Like I'm a big Browns fan. And like, yeah, man, like it's the first season. Then you start talking about that for a couple minutes, and that really like breaks the ice. So leveraging these points and finding those just like human to human type conversations, not just like go straight in. So again, thank you for taking the call. Like tell me about your business. Going straight into that kind of does not really allow you to do a proper job at building rapport. So try to find out those commonalities. Obviously, sometimes you're going to get people that are just like dry and just hard people to do that with. But you just have to work hard and try to do that. Okay. Anybody have questions on that piece?
No, but sports is the best thing to really build that rapport with them. Just to be honest, it was like a study. Like people, like they actually showed that sports is like the most common ground thing to talk about in sports, or in sales. So, if you're talking to, chances are, if you're a guy talking to another guy, you could bring up sports, and in some way, shape, or form, usually they're some sort of sports fan. Women, obviously, it's less less likely, but at the same time, it definitely it definitely helps, and it's a good place to start when building rapport. That or
I was gonna say that it's hard to like connect with older women, especially like because I try to connect with a lot of realtors. So when I get on a call with them, it's super hard to connect with them.
Wait, older women, you said?
Huh?
Older women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just gotta flirt with them.
Yeah, your LinkedIn profile looking good. it. How you look like you're 30. Oh, shucks. No, seriously. No. I mean, no, like, I don't know. I think also part of finding that commonality. One second, Brandon. I'm sorry.
You're good.
Elliot back at it with the cut off. You know, like also doing your research before, right? Like proper planning before, like looking at their stuff, maybe even go and look at their Facebook, because LinkedIn is not going to show their personal life. But if you go and try to find them on Facebook, you might be able to find some different things more about them that can help you, you know, figure out what that common ground thing would be, right? So that's my advice there. Sorry, Brandon.
Oh no, that's perfect. Yeah, Eric. I mean, like when you're in person, it's easier to flirt with them, right? Like you could you know, compliment the shoes, compliment the nails, the hair, the outfit, things like that, the jewelry, right? But like when you're on the phone, that's a little harder to do. So what I try to do is I try to use the chit chat time in the beginning of the call to really learn about where they're from.
Uh-huh.
And then depending on their age, like I'll ask about their family. I'll say, "Yo, is that where you're originally from? Is that like where your family's at?" And they usually bring up like their, because like usually their sons and their daughters or whoever doesn't live like right by them. So they'll say, "Yeah, I'm originally from here. My son or my daughter lives here." And then you can kind of to me, older women, the best way to connect with them is to talk about their.
You know what? You out of here?
Like,
You want to come speak
they
a
just
couple words of wisdom real fast?
love their family. Like, you know, one of those is that.
One client's gone. Thank you, Cody. But yeah, guys. So let's keep going through these slides here. So going into like building quality relationships. So this is real. I'm glad he came in and talked about this, because this is really going to build off of it. And like this is like some actual tactical ways to build quality relationships. So I put relationships are key to success in sales. So how do we build relationships for a long time, right? How do we keep them? Sorry about that grammar. It's just me. You guys are used to it. So 3 things. Right? You guys know. Look at the slides in the course, man. Oh boy. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, so like this is how we actually, like, you have a relationship, you connect with somebody like Alex, you and I, right? Like if we're going after a relationship or we're trying to build like, you know, a valuable relationship long term, right? It's frequency is number 1, right? How often with that person, the people you're connecting with, how often do you talk with them? And the most important thing is like, do you call them just once a month and every time you call them you're asking for something? Or do you call them a couple times a month and just ask them like, hey, how you doing? Like, is there anything I can do for you? Like, what is the frequency and the time that you are putting into that relationship to make sure that they're okay? So that's what I would do is find what those relationships are, the ones you care about, the ones you want to nurture for a long period of time, even if they're not going to directly correlate to probably money right now, but you know that that's just someone who you really care about, someone, just a really good connection and just a relationship you want to build, right?
Yep.
Be cautious and add the frequency and make sure to keep in contact with them. What are you saying, Brandon?
Absolutely. No, I didn't want to cut you off like you cut me off, but no, it's all good. But to add on to that point, because honestly, like this is such an important one, and I know something that Cody does quite a bit is he talks about frequency and like also ending, like when you do talk to them and hit them up, you know, once a month, it's like leaving them with like wanting more, like, you know, like a lot of times, like, okay, who's on this call? Actually, never mind, you're recording it. So, but like, you know, think about like when you're in relationships, like, you know, do you like, have you ever like overstayed and like made it awkward, right? And like, you know, been like, oh, this is kind of like, you know, awkward, or like, do you know, like when you cut out early, or like when you say you got to go or whatever, like, especially when you're talking to girls, for example, you know, like you don't want to like you know, like basically sit there and be like, oh, this is, you know, yeah, like, cool. Like you want to end it shorter rather than taking it, a longer approach, right? So you want to, always leave someone with like wanting like more of you. And a lot of times you do that by complimenting, right? You do that by just being like a genuinely nice person. Like when you say someone, when you say a compliment to someone or when you make someone feel good, like they're going to genuinely like want just like more of you in their life, right? Like you're just going to be a positive influence in their life. So like try to be that person and like strive to be that person. Another thing to mention that is like really supplemental to what Elliot's talking about now with the frequency is something that I use to organize it. And I don't know if you've ever heard of the rule. It's called it's a book. It's called Judy Robinette is the lady that writes it. It's called How to Be a Power Connector. And in that book, she teaches you a method because on average, we can only keep about 150 relationships like well. Like we can't as a person manage more relationships than that without like it affecting like the quality of the relationships. So what Judy mentions in her book is how you organize that is you have 5 like inner circle, like your key 5 people, right, that you talk to every single day, like probably business partners, probably like a mentor, maybe if it's like a really close mentor, right? But you have 5 people that you essentially like talk to every single day. Then your next like group of people are 50, right? You have 50 people and you can list this in an Excel sheet. It's like really easy to do. List out your 5 like key people and then list out 50 people that are like people you talk to. Elliot mentioned like once a week, right? Like those are like warm leads. Those are like hot prospects. Those are like relationships that you deem really valuable. Those are like also mentors, right? Like mentors that you talk to once a week, right? Like those are those people. And like you make sure that you talk to all 50 of those people every single week. So like however you want to organize that and however, if it's on Monday or if it's on Friday, you do that. And then the next set is your 100. And there's 100 people on this list that you talk to, and Elliot just mentioned it, and this is what reminded me of it. This is like your like circle, right? Like these are all like your powerful players, but like they're not people that necessarily you're doing business with right now. Like those are going to be the people that you talk to every week, right? So the people you talk to every month, those are going to be like the influential figures in your life that you just want to like keep good relationships with, right? And drop in, say, hey, what's up? Keep that relationship moving and really, just nurture that. And hopefully they send either business your way or you can help them. Like there's a bunch of different things that'll come from that. But just understanding that like you can only keep about roughly 150 solid relationships at once. So like organizing it in that way really helps. Keep your 5 close people, keep your 50 people that you talk to a week, which are like, business and like your lead referral, like your channel partnerships and, like just the things that more likely probably make you money or people that make you feel really good, right? Like people you absolutely need in your life. Like, maybe it's your pastor. I don't know. Like, if it could be like a bunch of different people, but, having those people in place that you talk to every week and having that organized. And then also, like I mentioned, having a group of 100 people that you talk to more or less just like once a month to keep that organized. And I highly suggest you guys just build an Excel sheet that enables you to keep track of that and, update it. Like you don't always have to have the same people in your 50 and the same people in your 100 and, all that. Your close 5 is probably going to stay pretty consistent. Right. But, just organizing it that way. I don't know if you guys have like an organizational method to help with like relationships. I mean, obviously we all use like CRMs and things like that to keep our customers organized, but having like an Excel sheet for your personal connection and your network, that's a really, really powerful thing. And I highly recommend you guys do that. Especially, since we're talking about like nurturing relationships and building rapport and things like that, that's a good way to organize it.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, that kind of wraps it up. It's just like, just be really intentional with relationships. Don't look at relationships. Look at them in a long term. Figure out who those people are that that you want to have that relationship with. So the second thing to go after is, we know about frequency, but this is really important, is like feeling, right? Like how do you make that person feel every time you talk with them, right? Like are you like every time you get on the phone with them, or you like, they're like, hey, how you doing? You're like, it sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like you're
Yeah.
talking negative or talking about the bad things, even though like it's not negative about them or whatever. You know, they're obviously like going to probably comfort you if if it's an issue, but like subconsciously they're going to like think of you as like draining, because like negativity in whatever way when you talk to somebody will drain. So we'll keep this one short. It's just like, an example of a way to make them feel good is just to keep it very positive. And then one thing that we try to do all the time, like, Brandon and I and Deb, we all give each other a lot of shit, but we know we're joking. It's just like, I try to just be like, Brandon, like, I really appreciate what you're doing, man. Like, you're very valuable. Like, I love you, bro. Like, we're killing it, uplifting that person and just letting you know that you really care about them and you appreciate them. That's going to naturally allow you to build that bond and connection stronger, right? So just keep that in mind as well. How are you making those people feel every single time that you talk with them, right? And then the last thing is action, which is the most important. The other two do not matter if you don't do the action part. Is okay, you have this relationship. If you tell this individual, tell this person, this is what you're going to do for them, or whatever the case is, and fulfill on that every single time. Because if you don't fulfill on that, then it's going to hurt the relationship. It's going to damage the trust, right? Everything we're talking about is just trust, and frequency and feeling. All of those in action go into building trust. And just like in a relationship, as you all know, it takes literally one thing to completely ruin trust in any relationship, but it takes forever to build it up, right? So with those people,
Yeah.
whatever you say you're going to do it.
Yeah.
Brandon, I mean, it's kind of really.
I don't know, man. You seem like you're speaking from experience back there. I'm just kidding, bro. We're not putting Elliot on the spot like that. So, but no, seriously, guys. Like that's a big thing. Is just like being a man of your word. You know what I mean? Like that's all it comes down to. Is just like doing the things that you say you're gonna do. You know what I mean? From like little shit to like big stuff. You know what I mean? Because they all carry the same amount of weight. You know, and honestly, it's like weird because like a lot of times when you mess up on big stuff and you just like drop the ball and own it, like people don't care. But it's like it's like honestly like the little shit added up over time is like really what ruins relationships. You know what I mean? So just think about that.
That's just a real.
Yeah. No, seriously, like it's one of those things that like obviously like the first two things matter, right? Like you have to have those, but also like to Elliot's point, like, if you're making someone, like when you're building rapport with someone and getting them, to really open up and getting those barriers, to be broken down, and you say, hey, like I'm going to introduce you to so-and-so, like Cody's method was really good. Cody is like one of the only people I know, that's probably why he's good at it. Like he'll send a message without even being like, hey, I'm going to introduce you to this person. Like they'll literally just introduce them and then just be like, hey, I introduced you to this person in your inbox. But like a lot of us won't do that, right? A lot of us do it different a little bit and say, hey, we're going to make an introduction to so-and-so. But like make that introduction, you know what I mean? Like make sure you follow through, and like those things are important. You know what I mean? Just to kind of like reiterate what they said, because I know Elliot and Cody already said this, but it is super important to just, do the shit that you say you're going to do at the end of the day. I mean, that's all what it's about.
Yep.
Do
you guys have comments as well? Like, you guys have anything? Thoughts or?
No, I mean, I think you obviously have to build your sphere in order to make those connections for the people, like Cody mentioned.
Well,
but yeah, I mean, when you are reaching out, say, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, but like, bro, like you're a part of the fam now. Like, I hope you know that, and like, our connections are yours. You know what I mean? That's gonna take a little bit. It's not as easy to just like name off connections and things like that. But like, we're more than happy to like, if it's gonna help you, like we're more than happy to like dive into our network group and like, make connections that make sense. Obviously, that makes sense, right? But like we're more than happy to make connections, from our network, because like we've been in that position, man. Like where, you know, I mean, we still are, you know, I mean, we're still all young building our networks. Like our networks are nowhere near what they're going to be when we're like 30, right. Or 40. Right. But like, I mean, we need to all like lean in as a team, like, to one another and just like take the time to really like understand. Like it took, for example, I'll give you an example for myself. One thing that was really hard for me to do at first was lean into Cody and his network. One, because Cody's network is pretty high, like it's pretty exclusive. Like Cody knows like pretty high end people.
It's insane. Like he's had lunch with the president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, I mean, Cody's like the man, and like I don't like asking for things. I don't know why. It's just like I just don't like asking for things, and like something that was always like weird is like Cody's always, you know, saying the same thing I'm saying to you guys is like, hey, lean into us, like we want to help you, we want to you know, help you guys grow, like, you know, that's what this is for. And like I always struggled with like being like, hey Cody, like I want to be connected with so and so, or like tell me more about who you know, you connect, like who's in your network or things like that. And like it's really hard, you know what I mean, because it's like a weird situation to approach. But you know, honestly, it's like something that you guys just have to be proactive about, and just be like, hey, you know, like if it's myself, if it's Elliot, like, yeah, we talk about work all the time, like when we talk, but like next time we get on a conversation, let's talk more so about like other stuff, you know what I mean? And like, let's talk about like what, like we're involved in, and like cool stories and things like that, because like through those things, like that's how you get to understand and really get to know like someone's like net worth, and like really understand like who they're connected with, and like what they're really passionate about and things like that. And like the more you have and build those relationships, like that's how you're gonna figure out like, you know, who they're connected with and like how you guys can help one another. You know what I mean? Like, and it took me a while to figure out that just with Cody. You know what I mean? And Cody, I talk to Cody all the time. You know, so like, you know, it's gonna take some effort on your guys' behalf. Like, but moral of the story is like, don't be afraid to like lean in to like Elliot, myself, you know, even Cody. Like, I'm sure Cody would be more than happy to help you guys out too. Like, we understand that like, you know, there may be people in our network that you guys want to be connected with, and vice versa. Like, you know, let's make it happen. You know, instead of just being like, oh, you know, like maybe it'll happen someday. Like, let's actually have that conversation and be proactive about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, like also like, you know, like if you guys want more of Cody, like that's the plan. I mean, you know, I want to start bringing more people on, but you know, Cody is a partner of Lane clients, you know, like he is. He's just in kind of the background. He makes, you know, Kennected. He's a partner. You know, he builds all those connections and stuff. So like, you know,
no pun intended.
Yeah.
Cool. He's not the one sending out all the connection requests, I promise.
He's in the back sending all the
He's just in the back sending out all those connections to all of our users.
This is another thing that I wanted to throw in here that I thought was just kind of powerful, and something that I used to, like we did a lot when I worked at Blitz Metrics. It's like sending gifts to clients and like new connections. Blitz was really, really good at this, and it's an amazing way to build relationships. So like if you have a new client or you get introduced to somebody who is a power player, right? Like for instance, like if I got on a call with somebody who wanted to be mentored by me or something like that, right? And they went out of their way, and I get in the mail, like what we would do is put like face socks, something funny with a personalized note. Holy cow, like dude, I would shout them out. Like I would be like, this person is freaking sick, right? So like if you find like gifts are an amazing way to kind of like build a deeper relationship and stand out. And I thought face socks were like a really cool thing to kind of showcase. But there's lots of different, you know, cheap gifts. Like these cost $10 to put their face on it, have them shipped directly to them. So I thought I'd just show this because like Natalie right here, she was head of social media at Infusionsoft, and we met with her and sent her those. And look, she posted on her story. She has a large following, tagged, you know, all of us, right? It's a way to really build a relationship. So that's one other thing I wanted to put in to keep in mind there. And then now like we're just going to kind of go into follow-ups and how those are key to nurturing. So how to follow up is, so number one that I put is keep track of your deals and follow-ups like in HubSpot. So we use HubSpot a lot. And so like when you get on a call and you talk with somebody and you're taking your notes and, you know, put that person into HubSpot, it's pretty easy. Like just type in HubSpot, there's a free version, and you can keep track of your deals there and keep track of your follow-ups and those people you need to connect with. And you can leverage that platform. It's a free one. You just don't have all of the things, but you can put your deals in there. You can put for how much a deal is, have your notes, and I'll help you to stay on top of things, right? Because the money is really in the follow-up. Someone might not need it now, but they're going to need it down the road. But people get busy and they forget, right? As you guys know, I'm very bad at responding on text messages and some platforms. If you hit me up on email or Slack, I'm going to respond. Other platforms, I'm sorry, but those are, you know, hard for me to respond to, right? Like I'm working right now to like really centralize all my communication. You know, we're trying to figure that out. You know, but follow up, you guys know that. The next thing that I want to show you guys that's really going to help is Boomerang. So Boomerang is an extension that I use on my email, right? So here's my email here, and let's just say like right here. Right. Okay. Say this was an email. Say this was like a follow-up email where like, yeah, let's connect in 2 weeks, or say that I use this to keep track and make sure our guys like get things done. And I assign somebody, whatever the case is, but I want to remember this. And I'm using my email as my form of communication to remind me of everything. Boomerang, which is right here, which you just add it to it's a Google Chrome plugin, right? It's right here. It's not that expensive, right? I can go, okay, this email, if nobody replies to this email in a week, send it back to my inbox, right? Or if no one replies in 2 hours, send it back. And this is a way that I manage follow-ups and manage leads and manage projects and conversations that I can use to just stay on top of everything. So Boomerang might be something that you guys would want to look into. It works really well, and I've used it for a long time.
Yeah, if you're the type of person that just like disregards notifications,
Yeah, seems cool.
Boomerang is great.
Yep. Cool. Next point is like utilizing holidays and special events to nurture relationships. So like, you know, keeping track whenever these people have birthdays and asking about their kids and holidays, you know, sending that person a, you know, Merry Christmas or Happy Birthday. Like, you know, those are really good connection points. I think, Brandon, you can kind of go into more of those if you want.
Yeah, no, I got you. So I'm like the worst person when it comes to this stuff because I use every single holiday as an excuse to reach out to people. Like I'm pretty sure my LinkedIn connections know by now that like every holiday they're gonna get a drip from me just saying like happy holidays, let's connect soon. But like honestly, like it works. Like honestly, I can't tell you, I have the most meetings set up after holiday because I just respond to everybody. It literally gives you a free excuse to message people. All you guys say, super simple. Hey, hope you had a great holiday weekend. Would love to connect sometime soon to catch up. Dude, people eat that up. Like they love it. And it builds rapport. It's just like, hey, at the worst, they're saying, hey, you too, thanks for reaching out. And in the best case scenario, they're booking a meeting with me and I'm pitching them on a software, more than likely. Right. But like on a real note, like the holidays are great excuses to follow up just because you can always pull the, hey, hope you had a great holiday weekend, or hey, you know, I hope you have a great holiday if it's before, right? You could just like kind of gauge it and utilize it to just follow up, right? And just use it as like another touch point, right? I do this for all of them. Like any holiday, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day. I mean, I did it for Labor Day, guys. Like, I mean, if that doesn't say something, I don't know what will. You know, like Labor Day is not a holiday, really. It's just an excuse that everybody gets off of work. So, but like, I literally I set up I think 5 or 6 meetings just from that alone. I think I messaged it out to like 20. But just like you know, like being able to utilize holidays. Holidays are great. But like any type of event, right? Like if you see like someone like something that I feel like a lot of people overlook is like when people change job positions or like change companies on LinkedIn, right? Like that, like that's literally LinkedIn putting like something in front of you. It's like, hey, you can reach out to this person, and all you gotta do is be like, hey, congratulations on the new role. Would love to connect sometime and learn more about what you're doing. You know, just any type of event.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I always see those notifications.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, it's a free, like, excuse to hit people up. Like, and honestly, when I just recently updated my profile for, I think it was Mission to Market, I think I added, or land clients to my LinkedIn. And then, like, I accidentally pushed it out to, like, all my people. Like, I had probably 25 people hit me up, all, like, starting conversations with me. And, like, I felt like I actually genuinely, like,
Oh, damn.
like, it was cool. Like, it was awesome. Like, but it's not like a ton of people, but at the same time, like, if those 25 people reach back out to me, like, I'm gonna remember it, right? I'm gonna be like, oh, that's the person that reached out to me, right? But then also, like, I'm gonna be able to see it. Like, I'm gonna be able to see it in my messages, right? So if like that person were to hit me up on like a follow up, like if they were doing it right, they would have tried to pitch me, you know what I mean, like a week after, and like I'm gonna see their, you know, their message that says, hey, you know, congratulations on the new role, you know, things like that. And then I'm gonna see them pitching me or trying to get me on a call. I'm gonna be like, all right, well, they just wished me well. Like I'm like almost in a way. I mean, it sounds bad, but I'm like, oh, I almost feel obligated. And it's like the law of reciprocity. Like you want to, you know, give what you receive. So like, you know, like if they're nice to me, I'm gonna be nice to them. And like that's kind of like the whole gist of like overall, like that's what this is about. Is just more so like the law of reciprocity is like just give, and like, you know, don't ask. Just like what Cody was saying, like give, you know, like whether it's compliments or, you know, little follow-ups that says, I hope you had a great holiday. You know, let's catch up sometime soon. You know, even like little stuff like that. It's the same thing, bro. You're just giving value. You're just giving, you know, you're being a positive influence in that person's life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
Yeah.
you know, just like utilize that.
Cool. All right. Next thing is setting the strategy call. So basically, like we've been talking about rapport and discovery call and like nurturing them. So now, like you guys probably know this, but for the sake of the training, you know, setting the strategy call, like the close call, and ignore this right here. How do we keep it? I just didn't change that for some reason. But first point is at the end of the discovery call. So like after you built the rapport, you've talked about their business goals, and the goal is to ask them for the time that you can chat again. The normal phrase is, hey, I definitely think that we can work together. You know, I'd like to just put together something that makes sense. Do you have time for another call? And then make sure to lock in the time and send them a Google Calendar invite on the call. Don't say, oh, we'll just follow up on email. No, like try as hard as you can to lock in a specific date for the next call. Ideally, like if it's at the end of the week, set it for the early next week. If it's, you know, at the earlier the week, try to set it towards the middle, towards the end of the week. You want to keep that going. You know, the time frame is as close as possible, to be honest, okay? Next point, follow up before the call. So, like, you set the time on the call. You guys get off of the discovery call. Great. And what you're going to do is before the next call, when you get on that discovery, make sure to always follow up with them and say, hey, you still good for this time? And then, you know, the day beforehand, so you make sure that it's all good for the new call, right? The next point is to make sure to come to the strategy call prepared with a proposal or something that you can do. Devin, thank you for flipping me off through the window. We're on our lane clients call. You never even joined in.
So who's that?
Nail.
There he is.
Flash. All right, hold on. I'm going over this, and then I'll let you speak some wisdom. You're gonna say the thing.
Wow, dude, he's in there late tonight.
Hey, we're all in here late, man. We're hustling. We had a big day today, man.
We did.
Anyways, so before the strategy call, come prepared with the proposal and the ways you can help them. It's the proposal is going to help you with the pitch, and I have some examples on this next slide. Brandon, I used Alex's proposal example because it was just the quickest one. It was in my slide.
Yeah. Alex, did you get that?
But here's everybody.
But I just saw your Telegram message, so I assumed you didn't. But
here's an example, everybody, of the proposal.
We'll talk about that.
Here's a proposal like template. This is Alex is one of our affiliate partners, so this is one that we have for him. You have the executive summary, what we can do, services we're going to do, and we have the pricing breakdown, and then like our official terms and kind of like the agreement side. Come prepared with something like this. Okay.
Alex over here putting up deals, bro.
That'd be
putting up numbers, bro.
No, that'd be a nice one.
That'd be a nice
lock in there, bud.
No, that one's locked, bro. I think we're good. If we get on a call with the CEO with that one, we're in there like swimwear, bro. We're in there. They loved us.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that guy was cool.
But cool. Yeah, so that's going to be it for everything for today's training, everybody. So those of you guys that are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for sticking with us here. Feel free to stay. Well, I'll probably have this going, but we're just going to move more into like QA. If you guys have ever been interested in Lane Clients Accelerator, it's an exclusive online program where you have a 30-hour step-by-step training online program that teaches you how to start a social media marketing agency. Then we also have a call like you're listening to right now every single week on Thursday where we answer your questions, teach new lessons, bring people on. You have a Facebook group to you ask questions 24/7. And then you have, coaches, me, Brandon, and then Devin that can help you along the way. So if you've ever been interested in that, just go to laneclients.com/sales. And you can get in there. So without further ado, let's jump into questions.
Thank you guys so much for watching this week's training video. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to have episode number 3 live and ready to go for you. So I hope to see you guys there. This has been Elliot Drake. I'll talk with you soon. See ya.